Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Loaded Mag NUFC Friday edition of the big match preview. Away day, something a little bit different, but we've got a very special guest, a very unique guest to come and talk to us about all things football. Big game Sunday at City Ground against Nottingham Forest. Boys, how you been doing this week? How's things?
Not too bad. A unique guest. I thought it was Wolfie.
I love that. I love that. I love the way Pete described him as unique, and I think he's right. He is unique.
Yeah. Oh, no, all good, Pete. Yeah, we just pressed the old button there to get the show going. I know you were getting just set up in the background, but all good with me. Friday. It's Friday, so looking forward to the weekend. And it's unusual for us to do a match preview on a Friday. So we have a press conference and everything at hand. So interesting. Chris, how are you?
Yeah, all good, mate. All good. Yeah. Another busy day in work, but it was a nice day, and the week's gone really quick, obviously, because we had the bank holiday. So yeah, short week this week, but no, it's been a good week, good day. And looking forward to having our guest on as always, as we always do with Wolfie, and looking forward to discussing all things Newcastle. And yeah, you mentioned about the press conference, a very, very interesting press conference, as we were talking about pre-show. But Pete, how are you, mate? And how was your day?
Yeah, been a bit of a nightmare week, which is done and dusted. We had the inspectors in at the school, so big week. I'm not going to go into the details, but it's been a good week. Everything is very good. Really, really successful week at work. So really, really happy with that. But it's been tough. It's accumulated in today. So I'm going to enjoy this evening. That is for sure. Wolfie is on his way, by the way. He might be a little bit late. He's had to go and do some family errands. He didn't ring me earlier, right in the middle of my gym session, which he's done quite a few times recently. I think he does it on purpose.
Sabotage.
Yeah, absolutely. Like literally right in the middle of my set, and he's like ringing me. I just think he's done it on purpose. But he'll be on very, very shortly. That is for sure. But yes. We don't normally get a Friday, and we got Eddie Howe's press conference in today. A couple of things, major things, team news-wise. You might as well talk about them now. Obviously, we've got the fact that Louis Miley is going to be out for a number of months, had surgery or having surgery, one of the two, and will maybe just make the start of pre-season off the back of that. Interestingly, we're not sure if Fabian Schär will play again this season, or will he forever? For Newcastle United, still up in the air from that perspective. And Tino Livramento, I think we all kind of expected he might not play again this season, or might not play again forever for Newcastle United. Lots of question marks there, boys. Just on that bit of injury news, what are your thoughts on that from a Newcastle perspective?
All of that, Pete. Another one. He might play again, or will he play for Newcastle again forever? Is Anthony Gordon thrown into that mix as well? But there's a lot to take in there. We know Miley. Just hopefully he's back for pre-season. Fabian Schär, it would be nice to see him again in a Newcastle shirt. Whether we'll see him, whether we give him a contract or not, to be decided. And Tino. It looks like he's not going to play Tino again this season. And whether we see him again in black and white is to be confirmed as well. But yeah, a lot of interesting stuff there to unpack in that press conference.
Just as we're talking right now, exclusive news coming out from Newcastle United. Shola Ramiobi is to leave his role as loans manager.
The loan arranger is no more.
I forgot that he was even the loan manager. But this is breaking news right now. Mark Douglas has just broke it. Shola Ramiobi is to leave the role as a loan manager, moving into a new expanded ambassador's role, and remains highly rated at the club by club insiders, but recruitment changes afoot. So very, very interesting there. Some breaking news on there. Tony Timebridge already put it in the chat. Just quick thoughts, Chris. I'll come to you because I was going to come to you on the Eddie Howe press conference. Forget that. Let's talk about Schroeder for a bit.
Yeah. Mate, I'll be honest, I hadn't forgotten he was the loan manager, because every single loan that we seem to do, it results in failure. But it was nice what you said at the end there, because obviously I haven't seen the news of you say it there. Nice to see that he's being kept on as an ambassador, and I think that is a very, very wise move by the club, because Shola Amiobi was a really good striker for Newcastle United, loved by many, the Mackham Slayer, the original Mackham Slayer. But yeah, I don't want to see him deal with any more loans. And how refreshing is it, from my perspective, to see us being a little bit ruthless and being like, actually, this isn't great. This isn't going very well. Let's move him upstairs, which is, from the sound of things, is what's happened. And yeah, that is the first bit of positive news I've heard in a while in relation. Yeah, honestly, that is great news, and it does show, hopefully, that change is afoot, because. I was only reading the other day, was it Antonio Cordera had a terrible loan spell, and then he ended up in the second division of Spain, and he's been lighting it up. So, that can be the last thing. Shola can hang his hat on that one. Whether that was Shola who made the decision or somebody else, I don't know. But yeah, I think we've had far too many failed loan.
Peter Ramage, probably.
Yeah.
He's his assistant, isn't he? Or something. Yeah.
Oh, Jesus! Yeah, just bring in a new person. But now, yeah, great news. I'm pleased with that.
Yeah. So, just your quick thoughts on that, Daz, if there are any. Do we even care?
Yeah, no. I think the loan arranger has moved on up into another kind of ambassador's role. So yeah, it just means we're becoming more professional. Really, and that's what we need to step to. It's another step towards that. Let's get Wolfie on and let's talk about this preview. We haven't seen him for a while.
He's been waiting long enough. Just before we bring him in, we should feel privileged, and he might have told me to say these words, but I'm going to say them anyway.
All right.
We should be privileged to come on and have him on tonight. Obviously, we'll talk about what happened last night, but so many people have been kind of like desperate to get him on their channels, and he's gone, no. Even last night on his watch along, I was watching Wolfie, I was in the chat. He said, I'm never going on anyone else's channel ever again. Which made an exception for Loaded Mag and NUFC.
Yes.
So let's welcome in Forest Fans TV's very own Wolfie. Let's get him in, friend of the channel.
The Wolverine. Welcome back, Wolfie.
Big up, boys. How are you?
Oh, mate.
It's been a minute. It's been a minute, man.
Yes.
This isn't anyone else's channel. This is family, man. This is family. I ain't on no one else's channel, man.
This is why we all, Alliance is still strong. We all stick together. I think most Newcastle fans were kind of with you last night. Obviously, it didn't work out the way you wanted to. Look, we have to discuss it. We have to. Obviously, it was a very, very disappointing defeat from your perspective. Obviously, Villa were good on the night. You guys, I think you said it, your words, you didn't turn up when you were on live in doing your watch along. Look, just what went wrong, mate? What went wrong? We have to talk about this first. Just get it out the way, rip off the band-aid. Like, just what went wrong? Or how did it go so wrong when you were 1-0 up going into the game, mate?
They didn't turn up, boys, man. They literally were terrible to a man. Like, I think maybe Hutchinson, you could say, was okay at best. Rest of them, like even Milenkovic, who's a 7 to 9 out of 10 every game. Like bozo moment.
The ball was mental. It's mental.
I've never seen him do it. He's never done it, bro. It's like, what are you doing? They're gonna VAR that. It's like even I couldn't find a way to say it wasn't a pen, man, because he pulled his shirt. And the problem was, I think it was Pau Torres or Lindelof, who I can't remember who it was. It was Pau Torres, wasn't it? He had his back to goal. You had Cunha about to take the ball off him anyway. Yeah. He wasn't about to create a shooting opportunity, and you're like, bro, what are you doing? And then, like,
and do you know what, Wolfie? It was one of them, wasn't it? You know, we see shirt pulls all the time, and I know you shouldn't, judge it on that, but you know the way sometimes you pull a shirt and then you let go, and then the player reacts. Like he's got hold of it for a long period of time, and you can see the stretch. It's ridiculous.
Long, and then, like, when Chris Wood missed that chance, I was like, yeah, this ain't happening, man. This ain't happening. Like I remember it was like in slow motion. He took the shot, and I'm like, why is that net not bulged? I was like, motherfucker, man. And that was it. I don't know, man. And then I didn't understand the substitutions. To be honest, I didn't really understand the team selection, and it was just another semi-final, bro. I've seen so many of these where we crash and burn the semis. Like, get us to the final, we win it pretty much. I think we've lost one final in my living memory. And then semis, though, I could list you a reel off. And they always happen when, like, Forest start chucking players forward at the end. You're like, right, this is going to be 3 or 4-0 now. It's just poor, man. It's poor. But, yeah. It is what it is, man. We go again. Isn't that the saying? We go again. Trust the process and all that bollocks, man. But you know what? It was, if you look at it, it's been a rubbish season. And this was the thing that would have glazed over it nicely. Especially the way we've been playing. And then they just crapped the bed last night. They crapped the bed. But the thing is, our clubs, we understand this pain. Like, but you just don't get used to it. You don't get used to it.
And this is the thing, like, obviously there's planned cookings for Monday and many other days moving forward. But this is where we'll use this show as a bit of therapy, just to kind of.
I got my therapy stream at 8 as well, man. It's like
therapy evening. We're like therapy.
Starter.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, man, yeah, starter, man. But
the thing about it is, Wolfie, is that, you know, I know it's not been a great season. Obviously, Premier League has been dire for both clubs. It's been absolutely dire. Been in a relegation battle up till about probably a couple of games ago. You've almost kind of sealed your place in the Premier League with a fantastic win against Chelsea. But you know, you got to the semi-finals. It's been a great run for you guys in Europa League to get to that point, considering you'd had such a bad season. Do you think it's going to be your run in the Europa League? Forget how it ended, because our Champions League ended in an equally bad way when we got absolutely trounced by Barcelona. So do you think, you know, your run recently, apart from last night, could be the springboard for next season? Because you've been on a decent run. I think you're top of the form table in Premier League, aren't you?
Yeah. I don't know, man. Like, Pereira tries to use the injury excuse yesterday. It doesn't really fly with me. Because we had injuries for Chelsea, we had injuries for Sunderland, we've had injuries, but they still played. I just think this might knock them. I don't know how they turn up from it. Like, you go 1-0 up half time. You know what I'm saying? Like, you should be able to be professional enough, whatever 11 players you put out, to see it through. Like, play the strategy. I kind of think, in a weird way, being 1-0 up didn't help us. Because the mindset was, it almost went into Sean Dyche ball, bro. It was weird. So I don't know how they recover from it, but they need to finish the season strong. But is there any point? Like, mathematically, Forest could still get Europe through the league. It would require some crazy maths to do it. But what's the point? Like, we're safe now. I can't see West Ham catching us. They've got 9 points to play for, 6 points behind us. I'm still praying Spurs go down. Like, that will make my season a lot better, man. I'll take that. But yeah, I don't know, boys. Like, I'm sure you boys have said it plenty of times now. My season finished yesterday. I'll be honest. I don't really care what happens Sunday or next week or whatever.
Boys, take that away, because we've been saying it since January, and we've had little breaks in between. Then we're gone, season's done. Then little break in between. Then season's done.
They keep roping us back in, boys, isn't it? It's like, we've talked offline about this, Pete. It's like, enough's enough with this season, man. It's been just a generally crap season. Even the football's been crap. Not just like Forest, but like just watching other games. That, you know what? There's only been one player I've enjoyed watching in the Premier League, and that's Cherky. The rest of them, it just feels too robotic right now in football, man. But it is what it is.
Only 16 days left in this Premier League season.
And then we have to watch a bloody World Cup, bro. Like, seriously.
Yeah, it's better when you don't have a team in it. 1%.
I hear you. I've got Scotland in it, man. Like, I'm screwed. So
I'm ready for disappointment already, but I pray for something different. But yeah,
well, try being born in Scotland and supporting Forest, bro. They're a worse combo. Seriously.
I was wondering why I saw you wearing Scottish jersey last while, right?
Born there. Oh, and if, like, my other heritage would be my parents from Libya. So yeah, I don't think they know what a World Cup looks like. So yeah, and that prick McGinn, man, I ain't cheering him on for Scotland.
To be fair though, look, you wouldn't have thought it because you'd have been obviously staunch Forest all the way, but McGinn was quality last night. He was very, very good. He's such a good player for them.
And that guy plays with his ass though, man. You ever notice he just grinds? It's like horny teenager in a club, man, trying to grind up against all the women, man. That's all he was doing to Nico Williams. Weird, man. But yeah, no, he played well, man. He played well, but Buendia played well. I think there needs to be a conversation on Morgan Rogers. I think he's been terrible, and he didn't really show up last night for them. But yeah, man, it's just 16 days. I like that. That's 16 days. I'll put a calendar up.
Yeah.
Countdown.
And I finished with 2 teams that I can't stand. I got United away and Bournemouth at home. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like,
hold on. You got the real United tonight. This weekend, sorry. You got the real
this
United.
weekend, pre-season friendly this weekend, and then I'll get myself up for hating Man U the week after. Man. Yeah.
But boys, I want to get your thoughts, Dad, Chris, on the Forest situation. Obviously, we've got Wolfie's perspective. Still going through a little bit of therapy there, naturally, as you would. We did that for a couple of days after the Barcelona game, but you know, can they look ahead next season with any sort of positivity because of their run in Europe and how they've kind of fared at the moment? As we just talked about, they're top of the form table. That's got to count for something, surely, in terms of springboarding into next season.
Yeah, well, if we can go on and hopefully get top 5 next season, and that's what I'm praying for, with a bit of a rebuild thrown in there. Why can't Forest as well? And it's been a blip as well, hopefully for them. And for the majority of the season, they've been missing Chris Wood, who was their focal point, and I'm sure they've been missing Alanga. If you wanted to take him back, we could offer a slight discount, Wolfie, and then send Alanga back to you.
Yeah, the
no
only
problem
people tell me,
whatsoever.
would you take him back and we can have Anderson back, is what the Newcastle lot usually tell me. Straight swap.
Straight swap, yeah, that'd be some deal.
Wouldn't mind it. Absolutely. But like, Chris, your thoughts on Forest? Obviously, I imagine you watched it last night. You saw the fact that they didn't turn up. It was nothing like the Forest that we saw against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. You know, thinking about them going into next season. But for example, going into Sunday, you know, are you worried? Are you almost kind of like optimistic now, seeing what happened yesterday? What are your general thoughts, kind of, with Forest moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, Forest, as you pointed out at the start, like Forest are top, you know, of the form table, doing really, really well in the Premier League. But I tend to agree with Wolfie and what he's just said, and that I think Sunday might be a bit of a damp squib now for Forest, because, you know, the season has effectively ended. I don't think Forest are going to go down. Will Forest look and think there's a possibility, a very, very outside chance possibility of maybe creeping into Europe again? I mean, it's probably unlikely given where they are. Even though this season nothing would surprise me, to be honest, the way the season's gone. But no, I think Forest have got a really good team. I've been really surprised by Forest this season in the league, because you know, I think they've got a really, really good team, and there's loads of Forest players that, like, I think do a good job. But yeah, it's just not quite panned out for them. I think, you know, the managerial appointments maybe haven't quite panned out, and, you know, that's obviously cost them ultimately. Got a couple of interesting questions I want to ask Wolfie in a bit, actually, but on the manager. But I still think Forest can be, you know, jubilant going into next season, because I think they've got the nucleus of a really good side. And ironically, I actually think losing the likes of maybe Elliot Anderson will just give them funds then to go again next season, because I don't think they're a million miles away from still competing towards the top of the league. We saw that last season. Like, they did really, really well and ultimately just missed out on Champions League. but there's no reason why, you know, Forest can't go on and have a good season next season. And I think selling the likes of Anderson and bringing in 3 or 4 players to improve the squad depth, it'll only make them stronger.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but I don't agree, man. I think we're going to lose Anderson. I think Murillo's going to go. I think someone will sniff at Gibbs White. Whether I don't think he goes, but we're going to lose a lot of the spine. Is Chris Wood still going to have fitness issues next season? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, we've had problems with our wingers all season. Our wingers, like, Hutchinson started to turn up, but the wingers have been terrible. Defensively, when they're fit, I like our defense. If Murillo goes, Cunha can replace him, so I'm not too worried about that side of things. But we need to get rid of a lot of potential that was bought that's turned out to be crap, and we need to use the funds correctly. Now, if we don't get European football, what market are you sniffing in? You know, that's the thing. Are you back in that unknown market? You going in the Brazilian market, Bundesliga market? I don't know. There is a lot of potential out there, but this summer needs to be done properly. And yeah, it's all well and good. Let's just say we got 100 million for Anderson or whatever they're quoting on it. It doesn't matter if what you do. You're not going to replace that quality. Do you know what I mean? You're gonna have to buy 2 players to kind of rotate in, and they're still not going to be as good as Anderson. Anderson's ridiculously good, man.
And this is the thing. Like, there's a lot of people earlier on in the season I was having this conversation with. This is when we were maybe within a chance of potentially getting him. I'm talking like back in October, sort of November time, when we were actually okay up until that point. And there was talk, and there was a lot of Newcastle fans I was speaking to that weren't really feeling Anderson, weren't really seeing the levels that he was playing at. The guy is really gone on to another level. I actually think, not just playing for Forest, but then getting that exposure for England has really kind of put him on to that next level and give him that confidence to say, you know what, I'm the guy. I am capable of playing at this level. And there's a lot of talk about, 100 million. You've just mentioned it. It's been rumoured. Numerous reports about Anderson, but genuinely, I know you've got some links to Marinakis as well. Like, how much do you think Marinakis will put on Elliot Anderson this summer? Like, what value do you think he will have on him? Like, on a real, genuine level? Where do you see it?
It's a tough one to figure out, because Anderson is not going to be the player who's going to do an ESAC and stop training and do all this. Do you know what I mean? So, like, he's just such a nice guy as well. So I don't think this is going to be anything that gets ugly. Now, I think it's going to be a case of where the Forest say, right, this offer has become too much for us to reject it. I think Forest will publicly say 100 mil. Realistically, it's probably going to be around the 80. I think that kind of mark. But I think what Forest will do, or what I think Forest should do, is do not sell him before the World Cup. Do you know what I mean? Like, I expect him to play at the World Cup. I expect him to ball out at the World Cup. Eyes of the world are on him. What we need is a bidding war on him. There's talks that Man City have already got a deal done, bollocks. There's talk that Man U are still trying to come in for him. There's, a couple of other clubs as well. We just need 3 or 4 clubs coming in and seeing what's going on. Like, all these reports right now about the Man City stuff, I'm sure he's interested in Man City, but he would not disrespect what Forest are doing right now to be having chats with Man City while we were going through Europa League, while we were having to win games in the Premier League. He's not that kind of guy. So I think it would be, and you got to add taxes. You got the homegrown tax, you got the Premier League tax, you got the English tax. All these taxes do add up. He's 10 times the player Elanga is. We sold Elanga for 55 million or 50 million, whatever it was to you guys. We see Madueke being sold for nearly 60 million last season. You got Charlie telling us that Cole Palmer is worth 140 million or whatever. He's had a dead season. But do you know what I mean? There's like all these taxes you have to take into account. And when you're bringing in a player who's topping every midfielder stat right now in the Premier League, in a side that hasn't fired all season, you put him into a team where you've got a well-built midfield and a well-built team around him, he's going to kick on further and further. He does have his flaws. I still don't think he's great at shooting or taking dead balls. But outside of that, like what he does on the pitch is unmatched, man, in the league. Like everyone was doing the whole, would you rather have Elliot Anderson or Wharton? I'm not hearing this Wharton discussion now alongside Anderson. It's all Anderson, Anderson, Anderson. He's surpassed him and gone on further. So I think it will end up being around 80 million, but Forest will push for 100 million. So, yeah, speaking of the fraud, there he is.
And the fraudster, and he appeared. Charlie just appears everywhere, man.
He's alive and well. Was worried about his welfare. It was fine. All I did to cheer me up, I rewatched the Chelsea match here. It made me laugh.
Honestly, Wolfie, like it was so funny because I hadn't heard from Charlie for a while, and this week he's gone really quiet, particularly after the Forest game where they lost. And as soon as you guys went 2-0, 3-0, all of a sudden, this Charlie's name on the chat just constantly, and he's back.
Was he messaging in the group? Was he like? No offense, Charlie, I ain't seen him, man. Like my WhatsApp, I think I got about 432 unread messages. I had Locks. You boys know Locks, the Leicester boy, yeah? I had him calling me during the game. I'm like, that's more shameless than Charlie, bro. You've just been relegated to League One. You've been relegated to League One. And you're calling me. Like, come on, man.
I just want to get Daz and Chris's perspective on Elliot Anderson. Obviously, he's a Geordie boy. Obviously, he lost his mum recently. I did say to you on 12th Man, I want to make a point of saying on here, I absolutely loved the respect and the support that Forest fans shown for him in that moment, particularly obviously during the next game in which he played. I think it was against Burnley that he played in that one. Brilliant show of support, and obviously Newcastle fans love him and his family.
And he scored against Sunderland, boys.
And of course, he scored against Sunderland. But Eddie Howe today, he was asked the question about Elliot Anderson, and he did say that he got in touch with him, and they shared a conversation about it. Eddie Howe lost his mum at a young age as well, so there's a lot of comparisons there, which he talked about in his press conference. But boys, Elliot Anderson, Wolfie has put probably a £80 million price tag in his head. Do you think he's worth that? Do you think he's worth more or less? Where do you see that? I think we're ruling him out from Newcastle. I assume we are.
Look, I was going to make reference to Eddie Howe today and what he said in the press conference as well. It was a nice touch, and he was when he was kind of asked about Elliot Anderson in the presser. But yeah, look, as the season went on, his stock has kept rising, and look, it's in one way it's a good thing for him that he did go to Forest, because he got his chance. He was always waiting, not getting enough minutes at Newcastle and not getting a chance. But once he went to Forest, he got his chance, and he kicked on from there. And once he kept going from, I knew he's not going back to Newcastle. We're not going to be able to afford him unless he hung around at Forest for another season. When the price was to drop somewhat, then we could maybe come back into it. But I think if it was his choice and our choice, yeah, he'd come back to Newcastle. But the price that would take from our side is it's not going to happen. But no, hopefully he has a good World Cup for England and kicks on. And I can understand what you're saying, Wolfie, to not sell him until after the World Cup, because his stock can only rise more. You would imagine. And on our side of things, we're looking at Gordon and we're saying, okay, let's sell him now before the World Cup. Let's get that deal done, so we're not dragging things on till after the World Cup and so on and so forth. So it's interesting. Chris, your thoughts on Elliot Anderson?
I love him. I think he's great. It was a shame, that we had to let him go. We know Eddie Howe really didn't want to let him go, but smart play from Nottingham Forest, because they knew that we were struggling at the time, and obviously took full advantage, particularly when it comes to a goalkeeper. But we won't talk about him either. Do you know what? I think he's a great player. I'd love to have him back at Newcastle, but as we've discussed, boys, we know going forwards we're not gonna see transfer windows of old. And Elliot Anderson, unfortunately, is in that real top bracket. Certainly price wise, anyway. And yeah, sadly, as much as I think, you know, we'd give him a decision to make, you know, if Man City agreed a fee with Forest and then we matched it, I think it would give him a decision to make. But yeah, I can't see him coming back, unfortunately. Maybe very, very late on in his career, possibly. But no, I think he's destined for the very, very top. And you know, he deserves to be there as well, because you know, I do rate him really highly, and I think he's a really, really good player. What I did, and you know what, I'll ask you it now, Wolfie. What I did find interesting when you were talking about Elliot Anderson, and obviously I've seen things in the chat as well. I hate to say it, mate, but it reminded me of the Alexander Isak saga. You know, way back when, and I'm trying to mentally prepare you for this, Wolfie, because we were adamant, mate. 150, no less than 150. I'm not selling for less than 150, and then obviously we all know how that ended. What is your like minimum bar? What would you like accept at like the lowest point? And the reason I'm saying that to you is, you know, as soon as the pound stands, you know, start coming in, we know Marinakis is a you know, a hard deal, and I'm sure he's not going to give him away. But what would be like your lowest point to let Elliot Anderson go?
I'd say it's 80, bro, and I don't think Forest will go any less than that. He's not about to run his contract down, so there's still plenty left on his contract. He honestly just doesn't give me any vibes of any kind of strike action. I think if he went to Forest this summer and said, I want to leave, and Marinakis or whoever's in charge, manager-wise, spoke to him and said, listen, we need another season out of you. We're losing. Let's just say we lost Gibbs White and Murillo and stuff. He'd be like, we need. I think he'd be all right with it. I think he'd carry on playing and just do his thing. He's such a nice guy. You know, I've spoken to him a few times, man, and he's just always polite. Even if you just send him messages like praising a shot he had or a cross he had, he's responsive. Thank you so much, and I appreciate all this stuff. He's just really humble. And when you see him in and around the other players, he's always very quiet. He never makes headlines ever. Never seen him making a headline, unless obviously it's for what he's done on the football pitch. So I think Forest will also respect that and understand that, because we're not going to qualify for Europe this season, his ambitions are going to be in European football. He's already shown he can do it on the Europa League level. I think he's ready for Champions League football. So I think that would be the kind of thing, man. I think he would just be like wanting Champions League football. And I think that's what Forest will say to him. Look what happened with Gibbs White last summer. Marinakis is like, you ain't going to shitty Spurs, man. Champions League football or not. He saw the vision of Spurs hopefully getting relegated. So Forest will work with these players. They will make sure that if they are going to go, you know, they won't hold them against their will. But it has to be for the right money. Marinakis will not accept nothing. We had a release clause on Gibbs White, and Marinakis still got around it because he didn't think it was enough. So I think it will be 80 plus, man. And it should be. He's well worth that price tag.
Yeah. And just to be clear as well, when I was mentioning about the Isak saga, I can wholeheartedly agree with you. Elliot Anderson will not go on strike and refuse to train, and he's not going to do that. Absolutely not. I'm just thinking in terms of the price getting driven down, because we know that sometimes happens, and what you want isn't always what you get. But I agree, mate. Yeah, I think minimum 80. I think that's fair.
Yeah, the only reason the price got driven down with regards to Isak is because of what Isak did.
Yeah,
I think because we lived it last summer. I don't think people realize how unique that situation is. That is unprecedented. That situation where he refused to train, refused to play, and was all adamant that he was never playing for the club again. It's happened. People have said it and then always gone back. Yeah. I actually think he'd have, now, in the moment, we were kind of like, nah, he'll eventually play. We all said it. I actually think he wouldn't have. I think he would have doubled down on it. Like, it was so unprecedented. That high profile player doing that, it's never happened before. And I think we've got that as kind of a you know, a marker to work from, because that's what happened to us. But actually,
scars.
A lot of players won't do that. A lot of players won't do that. Like Gibbs White, like he was adamant he wanted to leave at one point. It looked like he ended up staying. He's been as committed as anybody. Yeah. Elliot Anderson ain't doing that. Not a chance in the world. Sorry, Wolfie, go on.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say that's what you got Gibbs White credit for. I mean, I would have freaking wrung his neck wanting to go to Spurs last summer. I was ready to do that, bro. Like, why would you go to that club? I hate every time Forest sell a player to Spurs. I don't care if I think they're good or not. I just don't want them going to Spurs. But yeah, like I've seen your stuff with Pierre Van Hooijdonk back in the day, like the whole Isak thing. He went on strike. Forest stopped paying him, and you're right, he came back. In the end, he came back, but it didn't work because I remember he scored. I think it was against Derby. I'm sure someone in the chat will remember when he came back. Only 2 players went and celebrated with him. The rest of the team just snaked him off. And we had Alan Rodgers on back in the day. He was telling us that Jeff Thomas had him up by the throat in the changing room when he came back, saying, "Who the hell do you think you are?" So once they turn, once their ego gets the better of them, it will never work, even if they come back, because the rest of the players won't accept them. And yeah, Van Hooijdonk would be a good example. Even though, as a kid, I was like, he was one of my favorite players, man. I was like, he's right. Just let him back, man. I need to see some more free kicks from him. He was right for the reasons he went on strike, as in Forest had just sold Kevin Campbell at the time. We just got promoted. We had a really good team put together, and they decimated it just with the stupid sale of Kevin Campbell. But yeah, I mean, that's when players think they're bigger than the club, you know? So, but that guy could score a free kick, boys. He really could. From anywhere, 40 yards out. But yeah, on the Anderson thing, I don't think he does it. I think Gibbs White was actually, in the end, as much as I felt like he was a snake at the time, once he was told he's not going, he kind of unsnaked himself and just applied himself and got on with it. He's been in outstanding form since Pereira's come in. I don't think he plays again this season, if I'm honest with you. I don't think that injury is going to heal and put it under mask where really we got 3 dead rubber games. Yeah, you can see his skull, man. That's like how crazy it was. I don't think he'll play. There's no point in risking him. I think he's done enough to potentially at least get the question from Tuchel to be on the flight. But Tuchel seems to hold something against him. But yeah. Yeah, he did get sold to Turkey, folks. He did. We've waited for you on Never a Foul tomorrow. So using a past tense and waited for a future.
You need to get it right with Wolfie, because he will call you out. He will do it. And final boss, along with Charlie, always sniffing around. Probably waiting for us to say who we're looking at signing this summer, just so we can go back and tell Todd Bowley to go and sign him instead. Always that. And to be fair, you brought me to that point with regards to players not making it. Obviously, Daz put that picture up there, a nice little close up of the 2 black eyes as well. I didn't realize how bad it was until you actually see it close up. Not just the scar in the deep cut, but the broken nose that came along with it. But interestingly, after the game, Wolfie, and this leads on to the kind of the topic of around the game, is that Ian Dennis reported that not only is Morgan Gibbs White out, but Murillo out, Ndoye out, Sangara out, Ola Aina out on Sunday. Squad's absolutely decimated.
Oh, what he said for this Sunday?
Yeah, that was what Pereira said after the game.
Yeah, I saw that interview. He was referencing the game. If you see what I mean, he was making the injury excuse. Sorry, carry on, Peter.
No, the reports from last night were this was the comments after the game, and they weren't, obviously, because Murillo did come on, but they were talking that they weren't going to risk those players to be available. And it was like, and David Tolfield actually makes a really good point from this perspective. Your team on Sunday, is it going to be a wounded animal, or is it going to be more of a broken team? How do you see that unfolding?
I got no idea, boys. Like, when I think Forest are going to do utter crap, they suddenly appear from nowhere. When you start to believe that what they're going to do, they, do what Forest have done over the years. So the honest answer is, I got no clue. I don't think some of those players you mentioned there won't start. At the very best, they'll be on the bench. Like, Murillo, not injured. I think Murillo's gone. He's going. He was on therapy or recovery in Qatar last week. He's not injured. He hasn't been injured at all. I think something in his head is mentally blocking him. Whether that's a move or he's trying to save himself for the World Cup, no idea.
Is anyone been linked with him though, Wolfie?
Yeah, he's always been linked. He's always been. Chelsea are ones that keep re-emerging about Murillo. I think he wants to move to Spain, would be my guess. But I think he's gone in the summer. 100% for me. Murillo's the one who goes. But yeah, even when he came on yesterday, to me, he looked a few pounds heavier. He just looks like he hasn't been looking after himself. And if he was injured, why bring him on for the last 3 minutes if he was saying they were all out and on the bench in name? Like, why bring him on at all? But apparently Cunha was feeling some cramp. I forgot the question was. Sorry, Pete.
No, just saying, are you going to be a wounded animal or are you going to
yeah, so wounded animal. I'd think Forest will try and turn up. To be honest, if they turn up on when are we playing? Sunday?
Yeah, Sunday, 2 o'clock.
Honestly, it probably pissed me off more because they didn't turn up yesterday. So why suddenly you can turn up? What? Because the pressure valve has been, released on it. I don't care about this game, boys. I'll be honest with you. It's a non-event. The season finished for me yesterday.
Yeah. I'm not surprised, boys. I bet you're not surprised with it. Obviously, semi-final. They're safe in the Premier League this season, but from our perspective, lads, yes, the season might be done. We might not get Europe. We're not going down, but we need wins to boost confidence going into next season. So, from our perspective, are these potential players that could be either on the bench, as Wolfie said, or not available at all? Is that the boost that we need to be able to go into this game? Or should these players be motivated anyway, regardless, after an important win against Brighton?
I think Wolfie and Nottingham Forest are in the place we were a couple of weeks ago. And it took us a long time to kind of get out of that. And it slowly was, one game is evidence of it getting it back to normal, even though we did play okay against Arsenal and we got the result against Brighton. We've kind of moved past that and we're kind of getting out of it. And we'll hope that we put in a small bit of not that it really matters, but we hope we get a small bit of a run to kick us into next season then in a kind of a positive mindset. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it kind of dwindles out now. Wolfie, you could just sense the mood, and I imagine that's the same across the board as well.
Yeah, there'll be a couple of players that will play on Sunday that, thank you prick Sean Dyche, hadn't put them into the Europa League squad. So, for example, Nets, the left back, that we were struggling with defenders yesterday. Nets would have been ideal. He could have gone in off left back. Nico Williams could have moved to right back, and then you could add Kenya Milenkovic in the middle. Taiwo, he wasn't added in the squad. Instead, they added that lamppost Luca from Napoli. He's got to be one of the worst strikers in the league. Like he's so bad, man. Honestly, it's just I'm glad it's not gale force winds out there. It would have been flown out the stadium with so lanky as well, man. But yeah, I think you'll see Taiwo come in. I think you'll see Nets come in. I don't think you'll see any of those players. Gibbs White won't start. Maybe Murillo will start. I don't know. But I think the crowd will be up for it. And I also think it depends. I think, are we playing before Spurs and West Ham play? I think we're first up out of those.
Yeah, we're first up at 2 o'clock.
I'd rather we were playing third, to be honest, because if Arsenal beat West Ham, we just throw the game, play the kids. All I would is couldn't care less. So I don't know. I think maybe with us playing first, Forest will try and get something out of this. But I'll be honest with you, boys. I know you guys are looking, thinking you guys can still get Europe and stuff. I think both our teams are on the beach. We're both on the beach. This has got a stinky draw written all over it.
We do not think we're going to get. Well, I certainly don't think.
I don't either.
I switched off from that a long time ago, and I'd seen some Newcastle fans kind of coming out and saying, "Oh, if we win all 3 games, we're in with a chance." Even if we win all 3 games, we're still relying on other people's results, other teams' results, to determine whether we are going to get it in. I suppose the one positive, lads, is that last night, although Villa did win and will likely go on and beat Freiburg in the final. Finishing, if they finish 5th and win the Europa League, it brings 6th in that potentially gets Champions League, which could potentially, if Man City win the FA Cup, bring Europe down to 9th. So it gives teams another opportunity. But even then, I'm not quite sure that we're even capable of getting Europe because we're still waiting on results. But isn't it typical in a season that we're so bad? 9 teams could get European football, and we are highly likely to not be one of them. It's ridiculous.
Finish 10th. We would finish 10th in that case. We might get Chelsea. Might actually get Europe then, or maybe not. The way you're dropping Chelsea.
But it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing, guys. If you look at it, we finished last season on 66 points. Man U are on 64 points, and they've already guaranteed a Champions League spot. Like, the league has dropped heavily this season. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, no, I fully disagree. Any one of those 3 teams gets in the Champions League. All the other clubs that didn't should be embarrassed of themselves, man. All the bees. I can't stand any one of those clubs. But it's just, if you look at last season, like, we had to play Chelsea on the last day of the season to get Champions League. You guys had to, it was Everton, if I remember rightly. I think it was off the top of my head.
Last game of the season.
Yeah, and Villa had Man United. Yeah, so it was all down to the last season. It was competitive. Do you know what I mean? And the points tally was a lot higher. Now, you could argue, because the bottom of the table, the teams have been slightly better than the crap that came up the season before. But it's just, it's like you said, it's typical. We would have both been on the beach already in the Champions League on our points tally last season. It's just the way it falls, isn't it?
Chris, do you think Europe's still an opportunity? I think you've always kind of banged the drum for Europe and kind of lived in hope that Europe could be an opportunity. If Man City were to win the FA Cup, Villa currently 5th.
Yeah, same comment. Sorry, Pete. So we're both, myself and Chris, are clicking on the same comment there because Freuden's in the chat. Champions League, Freuden.
Just mute Freuden for a second whilst we talk about this. I don't want to see comments like this in the chat. Big up to you, Freuden. Good to see you, man.
Yeah, do you know what, Pete? I can't do it. I can't say it. I mean, you look at the league table, and you're absolutely right. You know, if 9th spot is available, could we do it? Yeah, mathematically we could do it. But you know, we're into what is it? Game week 36 now, and you know, bless Bruno. I love Bruno Guimaraes. Absolutely love him. But when you're getting rallying calls from Bruno going, oh, we want to win the next 3 games, I'm thinking, Jesus Christ, how often have we heard this? How often have we heard it? And you know, off the back of that Brighton win, I don't think Brighton were great at all. Yes, we played better than what we have in recent weeks, months, absolutely. But I just have no confidence in this team at all to go on any kind of run, which is really, really sad to say. And when you look at the team we've got, we should be more than capable. But there's definitely more going on behind the scenes, and I know we may touch on it later. But that press conference was just like, you just know there's all kinds of stuff going on, and I just want, a bit like Wolfie, I just cannot wait until the end of the season. I just want to wrap this season up. If someone said now, no more games, you can stay where you are in the league, I'd just be like, yes, sound. Just sound. If it meant that we could go into next season, start talking positively, start looking at outgoings, incomings, focus on next season, I would. Genuinely, I would. I'd take it right now. I know we've still got 3 games left to play, and I do hope that we win them all. But even if we won all 3 games and then we finished 8th, a bit like what Wolfie said before, I think I'd just be pissed off and just thinking, Jesus, if we'd done this earlier, imagine where we'd be. You know, it wasn't that long ago that Man United, you know, you were looking at Man United and thinking, oh, they're getting a couple of wins here. They're doing all right. And now, they're miles ahead. And you think, they've not even been that great. They haven't been that great. And you look at the teams like ourselves, Chelsea, Tottenham, Forest, and you're seeing other clubs above. And you're like, even Everton are doing bloody well, and they haven't even got a half-decent striker. It's so annoying. It's so frustrating. And you know, there's still a possibility of Europe, but I'm not counting on anything or expecting anything at all. Like my
it was that 3-game run, Chris. For me, if you look at that 3-game run where you lost to Sunderland, Bournemouth, and Palace, or whatever order it was,
Palace and Bournemouth,
it's like even if you'd won 2 of them and put yourself 6 points further up, you'd be like fully in the mix of potential Champions League as well. It's just a stupid season. Like when I'm doing my weekly predictions on it, and you're looking down the table, you're like, who's on the beach? And you're like, right, 9th place. No, if they win, they get into top 6. 10th. No, if they win, they get. And you just keep going down. There's hardly any teams on the beach, probably till you get to, us, you, and Leeds and Crystal Palace. That's it. Everyone else is still, and obviously the relegated teams, but everyone else is still fighting for something. And our clubs, just by being on the beach right now, for me, that tells you how bad a season we've both had. We should be fighting for something.
We can't be on the beach though. Like obviously, like for your perspective, I get why you might be, because you were all out for that Europa League, and I completely understand that. Because I think if we were in that same situation, I think we'd have been exactly the same, all out for Europa League. You saw Tottenham do literally that and nearly get relegated last season, doing exactly the same thing. So that makes sense. But for me, with how bad this season is, how dare they be on the beach if they are? I don't believe they are, because I can't pull myself to think that they are actually on the beach now, because I'm thinking to myself, how dare you, after those performances this season, from November all the way to now, some absolute disgusting performances in the Premier League. How dare you think, right, yeah, we're not going down, we're not getting Europe, let's just hang up our boots. No.
It's different because of the World Cup. Because of the World Cup.
I don't care. Those players need to turn up and put big performances in. I don't care whether they're thinking about risks of injuries to World Cup. Their priority should be club football. I don't care what anybody says. Their priority should always be club football. I've always been club football over international. International is a privilege and a bonus. It's not the priority. It isn't the priority. It's a privilege and a bonus. If you get called up to England, it's a privilege to get called up by your country, your national team, and it's an honor to play for the national team in a World Cup. But your bread and butter should be playing club football. And this is my annoyance. This has been my annoyance since we had Michael Owen playing for Newcastle United. Yeah. It's been my annoyance because even back then, he was very clearly prioritizing his international football. And you saw him buzzing around with loads of energy, and then you see him half-arsed playing for Newcastle. You think, nah, get lost. I don't want players like that in my club. And this is some of my grievances with the likes of Anthony Gordon over the last year and a half, because I think he's absolutely been doing that. You see him buzzing around and looking busy and saying all the right things when he's on international duty. But then you see him half-arsed playing for Newcastle. I'm like, nah, I ain't having it. And I've got pelters on multiple chats and various other things when I was saying about Anthony Gordon, even back when everyone was banging the drum for him. I could see it from a mile away. His mind was not in Newcastle, and it still isn't in Newcastle. And I just think it's with international football in general. It should always be club football first. And for me, our season's not been good. It's been absolutely dreadful. It's been a monumental failure. Keep saying it. These players should be giving everything. And you know what? To go back to Chris's points, I like the fact that Bruno's saying that. I like the fact that Bruno's going, you know what? We want to get Europe. We want to fight for Europe. I like that because he's got that determination. He could be sitting on the beach right now going, I'm playing for Brazil in the World Cup. But he's going, no, I want us to win every single game. I want us to get European football. That's the kind of guy I want at my club. That's the kind of guy I want us wearing the armband, leading the club forward, because he has the right mentality. Yes, we could argue that what he's saying is wrong, but I like the fact that he's saying it, because it shows he's got a little bit of determination. He's got a little bit of heart. He cares about his club. Yeah. It means everything to him. And that's what I love about Bruno Guimaraes. And that's why we couldn't ask for a better captain right now, leading our club at this moment in time. And I just think, you know what? Yes, he might be wrong. Yes, I don't believe we're getting European football, nowhere near it. But I like the fact that he's willing to drag these players through the mud. So glad that he's fit and back playing again. I really am.
Because he's a winner, and like our boys were on the beach until he's come back, and since he's come back, it's kicked the others up the arse to get going, and that's why I think we'll have something about us for the last 3 mainly games.
Absolutely.
But there is the opposite. Not that I think this is going to happen. Not that I really care.
Don't do it, Wolfie, man. Go on,
No, I was just going to say, if we beat you on Sunday, we got ahead of you. And we've had I mean, you think you lot have had a stinky season. Like, that would be crazy.
Is it on goal difference? You got on the same points, isn't it? Is it on goal difference?
Yeah,
same goal difference.
Goal difference is actually not bad. It was horrific a couple of weeks ago, but we smashed a few teams. But yeah, like, could you imagine if we were talking, boys, like 3 months ago, talking about Forest overtaking Newcastle? It's like,
it's crazy. It's crazy.
I just don't like this season in general, man.
Look, Wolfie, I don't know how long we've got with you because I know obviously you've got you.
I can go to half-past. I'm going to grab my dinner, then we'll go live at 8. So,
right, so we've got 13 minutes or so with you. I know we've got a few questions in the chat, maybe 1 or 2 related to Wolfie. We can throw a few questions out, and then I want to get your potential lineup because you've already thrown out some potential sort of curveball starters on Sunday. So we'll go through the questions first. Thank you for everyone that's tuned in, and we've got nearly 500 people watching on multiple platforms. So great to have you on a Friday evening. We don't normally do Friday shows, but great to have so many of you in the chat. Make sure you do those likes, put those comments in, join the chat if you're on X, and it's great to have you. But what have we got for Wolfie? Questions?
Yeah. I've got this isn't for Wolfie, but I've got to put it up because I don't know whether it's done on purpose. It's either comedy genius or just a really bad accident that's turned out funny. But Geordie Racer-Luke, member for 18 months. Thank you very much, Geordie Racer-Luke. And he says, evening chaps, 50 characters doesn't leave much. So I don't know whether he's done that on purpose or not, but I really like that, Geordie.
Well, if he grabbed you boys a coffee or a beer, whatever you guys have set up, it's unlimited room there. So they can write essays that you can read. So
there you go.
Yeah.
Wow.
We have coffee. You can now pay in crypto as a new thing. We've never had a transaction in crypto, but that's possible.
I'll be teaching about that today, about steering people away from crypto. But anyway,
and now Pete's like that with his brandy crypto.
Yeah. I've got brandy, man. So if you're willing to buy me another one, it's Friday. I've had a long week. Cheers to you all.
Put a long message in there for him to read out.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Brilliant. This is what I wanted to ask you, Wolfie, and it came from one of your boys, NFFC 2000s, and he says, "Don't want Pereira here next season. Bring me Marco Silva." Now, off the back of what happened yesterday, Wolfie, I mean, I got those vibes a little bit from when you were talking about Pereira and the way he set the team up. Are you happy keeping Pereira, or would somebody like Marco Silva? And also, just to add in, I'm going to add a little extra to this. I think it's madness that Iviola has left Bournemouth and now he's being linked with Palace. And I'm thinking, surely if he's left Bournemouth, he's going to want to maybe make a step up. But if that is the case and he's looking for maybe a bit of a move like that, would you be interested in Iviola if he become available as well?
I think Pereira's done a really good job. I've got no issues with what he's done. But my problem with Pereira is when you look at his track record, he's an 18-month manager, and I don't know if he, if that would change. I need a manager who can build something for at least a couple of years. I know on average all managers are 18 months long and what have you right now. Would I keep Pereira? Ask me at the end of the season. Like, my chat's been going on at me. Oh, when Forest is 10 games in a row. Oh, you still want Marco Silva? Do you still want Marco Silva? I just feel Marco Silva suits Forest down to a T. And I like his style of football. I don't think it's too attacking. I don't think it's too defensive. I think it's a nice balance. I don't think he gets the recognition he deserves. Everyone's like, well, what's he won? Well, he's won a trophy, so he has won stuff. But I just think if you look at I don't say crap quality, but some of the crap he's been given at Fulham and how he's turned those, rejected Arsenal players or wherever else he's gotten from, he's made players out of them. Imagine him with an owner that would back him and put some money behind him. I think he does a really good job. I don't think he should go to a big 6 team. because they'll turn their nose up at him and he'll be up against it off the bat. But ask me on Pereira at the end of the season. Let's see where Forest finish. If he'd got me the Europa League trophy, then cool, keep him. But right now, I don't know if he's a long-term manager in his own thing. But what he has got, he's got all the fans on side. He's got the players united. So I like that about him. So there's pros and cons to it. Today's not the right day to ask me about him because I probably would have sacked him at full time just because I was so angry at everything. I'd have sacked all the players as well. But yeah, I'm not making any judgments until the summer. But probably the easiest way to answer that, and sorry it's so long-winded, Chris, is
no.
I'd keep him unless someone like Marco Silva was going to be taken over.
Yeah, it's okay, Wolfie. We won't put you on the spot and demand an answer. Are you Pereira in or are you Pereira out? Like others have done.
I'm Pereira resign, as Pete would say.
I still am.
I remember that. That was good. That I like that. Luke Murray asks you, Wolfie, what's your stance on Gibbs White? He remembers you saying a while back on your channel that you would gladly drive him to his next club. Do you still feel that way? And also, do you think he's going to leave? Or do you think he'll stay?
I don't think he leaves. I think he's improved a lot under Pereira. I don't think he was that good under Dyche. Under Dyche, he was crap. And he's just one that when he's in his zone, when he's in a purple patch, if you like, he becomes unplayable. But there's still weaknesses to his game. I still don't think his shooting's that great. I know he's the highest scoring English player in the Premier League, but I would argue he should have another 5 or 6 goals on sitters that he's missed. What I love about him is his work rates and his desire. He's got that what you were talking about with Bruno, where he wants to drag players up with him. He's got that about him, and I like that. Will I ever forgive him for wanting to go to Spurs? Yeah, kind of, but that's a personal thing, innit, with me and my brother. But I don't mind him staying. I think his value's gone up though. After the season, I think his value's gone up. So Marinakis was right.
What was the release clause? Was it or what was
60.
it? 60 million?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love him in Newcastle. I can't lie, but we're not in that ballpark. We're just not. No.
I've got a personal question, Wolfie. What made you support Forest and your brother support Spurs?
So the first match I ever saw was Forest against Spurs back in '91, the final. That was like the first proper match I was getting into, and we lost it. So then, like, I just started supporting Forest from that. My brother was more so where I grew up. For some reason, everyone in Bedford supported either Spurs or Man U. And like all my mates were Spurs fans. That's why I hated Spurs anyway. And then like, I didn't want my brother to support the same team as me. He did like, he's like, what, 5 years younger than me. So at the time, like I was proper into football and he started getting into it. He wanted to copy me into Forest. I was like, you ain't supporting Forest. And I beat him up a few times every time. And then like we ended up just following like teams that his mates supported and my mates supported. And it went like that. And we used to just get into massive rivalries. Like, so he would have started to proper get into football. It would have been around 96 time. And that's where there was a season where we had to play Spurs 3 times in the same round in the FA Cup because one got snowed off. We drew the first game and then the second one at City Ground got snowed off. And then we had to replay it again at the City Ground. It went to penalties. And that one was when he was like starting to properly get into football, and that just built up the whole hatred. We got grounded for 2 weeks. Well, we beat them on the penalties, by the way. Mark Crosley, brilliant set of penalties there. Ian Warren scoring some unbelievable free kicks. So yeah, so that's where that's how I started with it, and that's how my brother got into it. Because like where we grew up in Bedford, there's no other teams around you. There's no like Stevenage, I guess, would be the closest one kind of thing. You know, there's nothing around there that's of interest. So everyone just ends up picking a random team.
Interesting.
I remember the whole Stuart Pearce, Gaza, it was FA Cup semi-finals. Yeah. This is years ago. That was a big rivalry back then.
That's why I hate Leicester. So all my mates supported Leicester. I was and it just brought a hatred. Like there
we
was
used to always beat Spurs, Pete, and it's like it was nice. It was Spurs back then, man. It was nice. And we still do, to be fair. We still do. Yeah.
we were the same. It was a question the other day that we had for our members to win a shirt for the OK jerseys, the Shearer hat trick. I always remember watching it on Sky Sports and like absolutely buzzing when Shearer scored the hat trick to win us 4-3. I remember just going in the next day school, just like I was out. Big guy walking down the corridors of school, Shearer arm aloft, and they used to hate it. They used to hate that.
It's well good, but when it goes the other way, it's well bad because there's like 100 of them. But there was in my school there was only 3 Forest fans, and one of a guy called Alex, me, and the girl called Lisa, I think her name was. I think she was only Forest by association just because she liked the kit or something. So it was me and this guy called Alex, and that was it. That was it. Like,
is your wife called Lisa?
Huh?
Is your wife called Lisa?
No.
No. I thought you were going to say, I've never married her, and I've loved her ever since.
That was like, because we had middle school. It wasn't even like secondary and primary. It's weird. We had lower, middle, and upper school back there. So. Weird. So.
We didn't have that, but my wife did. She had that. We never had that.
The good old days.
Interesting.
The good old days.
Yeah, the good old days. Absolutely. Just
crap.
Yeah, sorry, Wolfie. I'll hit you with a couple of quick ones. DXLE asks about James McAtee. Thought he'd do well and he hasn't kicked on. Has he been injured or is he just out of form? I know he started last night, didn't he? But then got dragged at half time.
I hope he's injured because he's been shit. I had a little rant about him yesterday. Like anytime he's given me signs of life, I've grabbed onto it because I want him to be good. But bro, that was his chance yesterday to step up. Because the reason he hasn't been getting games is because technically he is the understudy to Gibbs White, and Gibbs White is always fit. Apart from when a goalkeeper smashes his skull open, right? So Gibbs White is always there. So he's had limited opportunities. So you'd expect him to have just grabbed it semi-final European competition. He didn't. I still want to say that I think there's life in him, but I don't know. I don't know. It's just more hope than anything. I have no evidence to objectively say to you that there's any signs of life in him.
Yeah, it just hasn't quite worked out yet, maybe.
Just like this with Anthony Elanga.
Mate, I was thinking the exact same thing when he was talking about it. You want him to be good. Yeah.
Still not forgive you. Screwed his ankle.
I did warn you, Pete. I mean, I was like, he's not going to suit your style.
You came on to talk about it on the channel when it was happening. And you did. You warned us all. And you were right. You were absolutely right.
If you guys played low block defensive football and left half a pitch for him to run into, he'd work a lot better, but that's not your style.
No. And then last one from Tony Timebridge, mate, because I know you've got to go. And I think I know the answer to this, and we can end on a positive note, Wolfie. Tony asks you, how sure are you about survival?
What, of Monday night's stream or Forest?
Forest. Oh, mate. Monday night, I'm already, as soon as that full-time whistle went last night, I was thinking, oh my God, because I saw last week when you and Billy were at it, and I was thinking, I hope this doesn't go wrong for Wolfie. I just seen 4-0.
All right, Billy never talks anyway, man. What's Billy gonna say? He's gonna go and blow the final anyway. So, how sure am I about survival? Yeah, like I'm just not sure it's Spurs that go down. I really want it to be Spurs. Yeah.
It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. Oh, Pete's also wanting it to be Spurs. I was looking at the fixtures earlier, funnily enough, and I was just thinking, I can't see it not being West Ham now. I just can't see it. That win Spurs against Villa was huge. It was huge.
They threw it. I just think if Arsenal, if they have to beat Arsenal to stay up, can't see it.
And there's a 10-goal swing in the goal difference. So even even if they manage to get on level points, there's 10 goal difference in the between Spurs and West Ham. It's huge, which is another point, effectively, isn't it?
But Spurs are Spursy.
They are Spursy.
I fear for West Ham really quickly. I fear for West Ham just because I didn't realise how bad their finances were. I don't know if you saw. I was talking to Lawless this morning about it, and he was being so defensive, but he knew how bad their finances were, like I did. And I was saying things genuinely, and he was like, "No, proper batting back."
I want a group chat.
Yeah,
I've been working, and then
honestly, West Ham is screwed if they
need
go
to
down.
catch up on the group chats, man.
Really?
Yeah.
Callum Brady's gone, hasn't she?
Yeah, financially they're screwed. I didn't realize their amortization on previous transfers is ridiculous that they owe this summer. So regardless of whether they stay up or get relegated, they have to sell, and they have to sell their best players. Bowen gone, Somerville gone, Fernandez gone. Like their 3 best players will all get sold. They'll get money for them. They get decent money from them, but that will only cover the costs. It won't allow them to spend. They are screwed. If they get relegated, they're even more screwed.
They're in big trouble.
That dude will go as well, won't he?
Yeah, he's not a bad player, to be fair. I know you got to go, Wolfie. Just before you do, can you just whip through your potential starting lineup, just so we've got something to work from?
It'll be Sells in goal.
Sells, good old Sells.
Zach Abbott is not available because he's under concussion protocol. So I think it will be Nico Williams at right back.
Okay.
And then Nets at left back.
I did have Nets. Oh, there he is.
Yeah, he's here.
Centre back.
Milenkovic?
Milenkovic will probably play. He'll want to make up for what he did yesterday. I don't know on the left side. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Morato again, boys.
Interesting.
Midfield, Dominguez and Anderson, I think, will be the two he goes with. So Dominguez on the right, Anderson on the left.
Yeah, go for it.
Jesus in the 10, if you like. I think Taiwo will be up front. And then Hutchinson on the right. Backward on the left. Something like that.
Okay.
Is that 11 players? If I counted right?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Something like that. Something like that. The ones I'm not sure of would be back. I think he actually backward will start because there's not many wingers fit. It's what he's going to do with the centre backs. I don't know. I don't think Murillo will start. Cunha apparently went off with cramp yesterday, so that technically leaves Morata. I don't think that's a million miles off, if I'm honest with you boys. And I think Wood will be rested.
Interesting.
I hope you're giving the team talk, Wolfie. Just inspire them there.
It's inspiring no one right now, man.
It's hard.
But look, Wolfie, I know you got to shoot. I just want to get a team out just so we could have something to work with. But look, I know you're hurting. It's been a obviously tough one. We've been through it as well this season. But always, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on, man. Always good.
Anytime, boys. Anytime. But yeah, see you Sunday.
What's your prediction?
Disgusting 1-1 draw. Beach match, 1-1 draw. I'll even tell you the scorers. I'm going to say Taiwo scores. And for you guys, Gordon, just to wind up.
God, fuck off. No.
Maybe Alanga if you start Alanga. That'll be quite funny. Yeah. But yeah.
How about the ex-players score against each other? Anderson in Alanga.
Oh yeah, Anderson's going to play. Yeah, and then Chris Wood subbed on for the winner. Maybe I don't know.
Now he's staying the winner. Okay.
But he's like, make sure you hit that like button, and someone needs to grab you boys a beer, man. It's Friday night. Come on, go grab one. Yeah. But yeah, I'll probably catch up with you guys on Sunday.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mind yourself, Wolfie.
Take care, Wolfie.
Enjoy.
Take care.
Take
I'll
care.
see you boys later. All the best.
See you, mate.
Bye.
Legend. Great to have Wolfie on, as always. Always great chat. And genuine chat as well. The alliance is strong, or something like that anyway.
Yeah.
Boys, we'll run through the team really quickly of who we think Newcastle are going to start with. Obviously, we talked about it earlier on in the show. We've got around 500 people watching. If you didn't hear or you haven't heard, who lived under a rock, we've got obviously Louis Miley out for the rest of the season, probably until early pre-season. Livramento not likely to be available for the rest of the season. Shaw not likely to be available for the rest of the season. Gordon has trained and is likely to be in the squad again. And yeah, we've got one right back available. So what are we going to go with, boys? I'll leave you to decide your 11.
What can I throw something? I'll let you go through it, Chris. But do you think just kind of would you think he'd chance Lewis Hall at right back, give him a run out at right back, see what he could do there? As an alternative. Otherwise, it's going to be trips. But Chris, whiz through the team there, and we can see. We might change there.
Do you know what, Daz? That's not a bad shout because we have seen Lewis Hall move over to right back, haven't we, on occasion? Even though it's mad because he's so very left-footed, but we have seen it. But I'll put down what 11 because I think this is quite easy. There's only one position that I'm stuck on, or one player I'm stuck on. The rest I think is quite straightforward in my opinion. But yeah, I'll come to that player last, and you'll know what I mean. So in goal will be Nick Pope.
Okay.
Centre backs will be Sven Botman and Malik Chow. Right back, I believe, will be Kieran Trippier. And left back, everyone's screaming at home probably, will be Dan Burn.
Okay.
Midfield three of Sandro Tonali in the holding position. Bruno Guimaraes on the right. And Joe Linton on the left. Left wing, I think, will be Joe Willock. So you'll see this is very similar to the team that we played against Brighton. Through the middle, I think it'll be Will Asula. And this is the one that I think is a difficult one. Because if we're following suit with Brighton, it probably will be Murphy. But I'm wondering, because we're playing Forest, whether he might, and we know Eddie Howe does like to swap and change a couple of players. I wonder whether he might go with Anthony Elanga. But I'm going to go with Murphy. And Daz, if you want to correct me, please do. But yeah, I think that's probably how we'll set up.
I think that's probably how we'll set up as well, Chris. Does Murphy have 2 decent games in a row? I don't know. Does he have it in him? But at the same time, yeah, I'd stick with Murphy just for this. But we'll see Elanga at some stage to bring him back into the fold, because we need to get something out of him. I would like to see. I think Trips gets next game, our last home game of the season against West Ham, and that'll be kind of a send-off kind of thing. So I'm wondering, would he? Because you don't want to be leaving Lewis Hall out completely. I know he did come on, and we went to 3 central defenders and or 5 at the back with Hall when he came on. But I wouldn't mind seeing him at right back, and like they could train that way this week to kind of get set up for it. But apart from that, alternatively, I'd like to switch the whole thing around and play a 4-2-3-1 and have Nick Volkemader behind a Sula or something like that. But I think Eddie Howe isn't going to go that drastic yet. And maybe in the summer we'll see something different than pre-season. But I think, that's kind of more or less the shape he's going to go with.
Yeah. Pete, what do you think, mate?
Yeah, I think that's pretty close to what I would probably go with. I think that's probably close to what will be selected, actually. For me, I would be, in this particular game, I'd be playing Lewis Hall. That's no slant on Dan Burn. I thought he had a good game against Brighton. I thought regardless of the goal, I thought he defended okay. So I've got no issues with him. Obviously, I've got issues with him starting left back, of course, because we don't want him starting left back. But if he starts, that's obviously the choice that he's made, and he's not wanting to change the back five. But I would personally start Lewis Hall. I think playing on a tighter pitch, I think it's probably the best game for him to be playing. For me, the only question mark I've got with regards to the starting lineup is maybe Joe Willock. And it's only because obviously Barnes came on and looked lively and he scored, whether he maybe starts him at left wing. But in the same breath, I haven't got an issue with Joe Willock starting, because I thought actually Joe Willock and Willis-Rula linked quite well. And on that counter-attack, they look quite deadly. I just don't know. It is a tighter pitch at Forest, and there's less space to run into in comparison to St. James's. So I just feel like, will it be too much of a tight pitch to maximise his pace and getting in and behind in a game, or is it more suited to someone like Barnes, who does tend to play well at the City ground? So I don't know. That's kind of my only thought on that. But the rest of the team, I think, is pretty much a dead set. I know you mentioned, Daz, about Hall right back. I just, at this stage right now, at the end of the season, I just don't think it's probably the best thing to do with Hall. Is that he just needs to be playing where he knows he's good, and I'd be starting him. I've got no issues with Trippier coming in. Trippier's got that experience, tighter pitch. He's got that know-how, and he's not got the qualities of Miley, of course, but I just think I think they were waiting for Trippier to play next week against West Ham, the final home game. Give him the grand goodbye. I think that's what they're waiting for, because they know he's leaving, and they're trying to bed players through ready for next season. But he has to play, and I don't think Eddie Howe will have a problem with putting him in the team. So really, left back and left wing are my only really ones that I would maybe change potentially. But as you boys have done, you've kind of left it as it is, and I think that's probably how it will stay.
You mentioned, Pete, the chemistry between Asula and Willock. What about the chemistry between Joe Linton and Willock, and the kind of interchanging, and as Eddie Howe, as Dom Scurr would say, that to quote Eddie Howe, the trust that he has in those positions. So I don't know.
I thought Joe Linton played well against Brighton, actually, because I spoke about it on the match preview this time last week. I was talking about the fact that I don't think Joe Linton's very, very much suited to playing against Brighton. I think him stylistically doesn't really suit or match up well. But I just thought he had a good game. I thought he defensive work and covered every blade of grass. I thought he played well. So fair play to him. And you're right, Daz. They do have that interchanging connection on that left hand side. I just think though, with what you just said, with that interchangeable left hand side, with a bombing on Lewis Hall to overlap and cause even that could be a deadly left hand side that could cause them, because Hutchinson, for as good as he can be, he's not great defensively. He's quite small and quite fragile. He is someone that you can overpower on that right hand side. And Nico Williams doesn't like big, physical, dominant players coming at him. And I just think that's a win there potentially, with the running power of Willett, Joe Linton being Joe Linton, and then just the quality of Lewis Hall down that left hand side. I just think it could cause problems, but I don't know. I just think it would be a good fit to play Lewis Hall. I do think he starts either this Sunday or next week against West Ham. I think he has to start one of them, because you can't just keep him out of the team. You've got to reintegrate him at some point, because then you've got a low drop of confidence. You've got a self-esteem issue. You've got someone that's you want to be bouncing into the World Cup all of a sudden, kind of like, or bouncing into next season. Forget internationals, but bouncing into next season. You want that confidence, really. And if you just bench Dan Burn, who's really not going to play left back next season anyway, if we are going to get a left back cover, I don't know. I don't know what you're.
Pete, there's been a suggestion from Mr. Linky Fad in the chat. That got me thinking. He says, what about Malik Chow at right back? So it would basically be shifting everybody across one space, putting Kieran Trippier on the bench. And then obviously by doing that and putting Chow at right back, Botman would then be right centre-back. Bain would then be left centre-back. And then obviously you've got a gap there to put Hall at left back.
Malik Chow has covered it right back before.
He has, yeah.
Honestly, Mr. Linkified, I just feel like Botman and Chow need to build a relationship, because I think that's going to be our starting pair next season and beyond, potentially, unless a new centre back comes in and steals a march on both of them. And I just think right now the key is about them playing regular football together. And I think that's really key in keeping those two as a partnership. Maybe in game could be a shout if things need to be switched around slightly. If there's an injury, if Trippier pulls up, whatever, you bring Lewis Hall on, and you, like you just said, Chris, you shift them all down one. So Malik Chow into right back, Botman right centre back, etc., etc. That's something that can be done and switched in game. But I personally wouldn't start with that. That's kind of something that you change in game just to manage the situation rather than start with, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Just my thought on it, but
yeah.
Good suggestion.
Yeah, Mr. Linkified. Yeah, it was a good shout. That good shout. I mean, David Tofield says you can't have two old fullbacks away from home, and I get what he means, because obviously Forest do have a lot of pace on the wings. They do, and they like to play down the wings a fair bit. So yeah, obviously it is a concern.
This is why I think Hall should really start.
Yeah.
You know, you don't mind Burn starting to a point if Miley's fit. You've got that youthfulness on at right back, but you got a 35 and nearly 36-year-old and a nearly 34-year-old playing. Like he's right. He's absolutely right. It's not ideal, especially away from home, where you got Bakwa, who's a good player, good winger, and Hutchinson's got bags of pace and running energy. I just think that's a bad matchup, if I'm being honest.
Is there any chance of sticking Murphy right back and putting Alanga on the right wing?
Not for me.
Having five at the back, that's three centre backs, and having just changing it up completely. Having Lewis Hall on one side and Murphy on the other. Yeah,
I don't want Murphy anywhere near that defensive line personally. I know he's played there before, but that guy does not know how to defend.
No, he doesn't. To be fair, no, he doesn't.
I know he's played there before under Bruce and etc. But for me, his tracking back and his awareness of runners and overlaps are not good. I actually think Alanga's better at his tracking back. He actually tracks the man and does it better, more consistently. I just wouldn't want it. Just my opinion. I just want Murphy anyway. I wouldn't want him anywhere near that back line.
Is another shout for another player? Mr. Linkified said, "Can Ramsdale play right back?"
Probably better than Murphy.
Yeah,
and as shout out to Minnesota Mag, who was kind of engaging in conversation on Twitter as well, where they'll start in one formation and it'll change multiple times throughout the game as well, with little tweaks as the game goes on and how as needs most. But just have to wait and see, boys. Wait till 12:45 on Sunday for the team news.
Yeah. I am interested though. Milenkovic and Morato, neither very quick.
No.
And Will Sula with that rapid pace could potentially cause a few problems, and his unpredictability. Obviously, he's 3 and 4, looking for 4 and 5. That could be one to watch for sure. But it'd be interesting to see if they do go with Dominguez and Anderson with Igor Jesus as the kind of number 10. Newcastle could win that battle in midfield. That could be an interesting watch. Yeah. I always feel like Anderson, as well as he's played this season, he never really gets the better of Bruno. Bruno always seems to cause problems for Anderson. He never seems to be able to get close to him or be able to get the ball off him. In previous games that he's played, he always seems to struggle. So I do think that could be a midfield pairing that could dominate
And Joe Linton normally drifts over, doesn't he, to have a little bit of a battle with Elliot Anderson, almost to kind of like rough him up. We've seen that in previous games as well.
And they could throw in Yates into the mix as well, who always is up for a scrap, and it's always good for a yellow card at least. So all eyes.
Hopefully a red card, boys.
Hopefully.
Boys, anything you wanted to talk about? I know. You mentioned about the press conference, Eddie Howe. He made some comments. I don't want to touch on that before we wrap.
Yeah, I just wanted to touch briefly on it, and also touch briefly on. I don't know if you boys have seen it. It just popped up earlier when I saw it. Keith Downey had done a video on training grounds. So obviously we saw he'd showed videos of the players in training. Obviously we saw Anthony Gordon in training, and I don't know if you boys have seen it, but I thought it before he even said it when he showed the footage. And Anthony Gordon just looks completely checked out, like completely just. You can see it on his face. I think they invited the under-8s to go and train with the players, which is really nice. And obviously you saw the players engaging with them and playing a bit of head tennis and stuff like that. And you just see Anthony Gordon stood there just miserable, absolutely miserable. And then Keith Downey actually says it in his video, going, the body language from Anthony Gordon was not good. And obviously Eddie Howe, and the reason I'm linking that is because in the press conference, Eddie Howe was asked quite a few questions on Anthony Gordon, and whether he would, still be including him within the squads, and he wants players who are fully committed to now and the future. I think that's what Dom Scare said, friend of the channel, Geordie Janos, and whether he'd be a man of his word, which Eddie Howe did not like in that press conference. I quite enjoyed. We were saying what he does before the show. I quite enjoyed Dom's question. I liked that. But yeah, Eddie Howe did not like it. And the other thing to mention as well, boys, was when Eddie Howe was asked about the future of many players, but he was talking about the future of Nick Voltemade and Johan Wissa. And he did a key role. He sat on the fence majorly. And I suppose you can't expect them to kind of come out and say, "Oh yeah, we'll be looking to move them on in the summer." But equally, it was a bit like, I thought it was quite telling press conference, and I don't know what you boys thought of it, but there was a few nuggets in there, and I was a bit like, "Ooh."
Yeah, I don't think he can say anything different about there's potentially selling players and kind of bigging up players that he still needs for the last 3 games. Another one that was interesting is on Nasula, that seems like he's all on for keeping Nasula now. Was a good topic of conversation in our show the other night, the Talking Tune show. But very interesting there. But again, anything could happen in the summer. A big offer could come in and it'd be taken out of our hands. Or like it might be too good to refuse. Interesting that as long as Bayern Munich been linked to Gordon, at PSG from Graham Bailey and a few more. So let the bidding war begin on that.
Absolutely. And Pete, also, I obviously want to get your thoughts, but also I want to ask you another thing that just popped in my head. As it pops out at my head now. What was it on? No, that was it. It was when he was asked, particularly about summer transfers and dealings and stuff, and he was like, "I wouldn't know. I've got nothing to do with that." And I was like, "Ooh," because to me, again, it smacked of, he didn't look very happy about it. Basically, yeah, exactly. But I saw that as a real positive, and I thought, good, because this is Ross Wilson's window. This is absolutely Ross Wilson's window. But again, Pete, tell me your thoughts on that as well. Loads of things. It's only an 18-minute press conference, but it was like, ooh.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I didn't see it as a not happy. I'm talking about the Ross Wilson kind of transfer bit here. I didn't see it as Eddie Howe being sort of like annoyed or frustrated. I actually saw that as a positive.
Oh, really?
I saw that as Eddie Howe being quite willing to just back that away, going, not anything to do with me.
A bit relieved. Yeah.
Because he had to put everything up, and everyone knew last summer that he was heading things up. And every press conference, you know, when they went on the tour, for example, the concert press conference about players and this, that, and the other, and they knew that he was heading it up, so he couldn't really dodge the question. But now he can, because he knows that. I'm convinced Eddie Howe knows what players we want. He knows what positions they want, and he knows that Ross Wilson's working on it. So I think he said it before, like in the last press conference before the Brighton game. They are aligned. They know what they want. They know what they want to get, and it's a case of I've got nothing to say. It's now in Ross Wilson's hands. He's going to go and broker the deals. I kind of saw it that way, but yeah, and I have to go back to the general questions that you're on about with regards to Eddie Howe around various different things, and obviously the question that Dom asked about keeping his word and all the rest of that. I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
Eddie Howe hasn't been asked these sort of the tough questions for a long time now, nor has he had to have the tough questions asked for him, because normally things have been going well. But when things have not been going well and had a bad a season as they have, absolutely should be being asked the tough questions. Of course. Yeah. And to be fair, the Geordie Journos and Lee Ryder have kind of led the way on that. They started. Lee Ryder was probably one of the first to start asking the tough questions, the questions that fans wanted to be asked. And I think he's got a lot of respect since sort of January onwards off the back of asking those tough questions. Eddie Howe hasn't liked it, but he's had to front it and answer those questions. And he knows why Lee Ryder's asking those questions. Don't believe for a second that Eddie Howe doesn't know what's going on. He might not have social media, but he's got people that do have social media, and he's kept abreast of everything that fans are saying and fans are thinking. So he'll know.
There was a question, you've absolutely spot on to say that, Pete, because I forget what it was, but there was a question that he was asked, and he almost kind of like done like a little, as in he knew he knew why the question was being asked. It was a bit of an awkward, I forget which one it was. It was a bit of an awkward question, but he knew what the person asking the question was referring to, even though he constantly says, I don't listen to anything, I don't know anything about social media, I don't follow any. He knew exactly what the question was aiming at. It might have been to do with Voltamado or Wissa, perhaps.
Yeah, Voltamado, I think it was. And I think it could have come from Keith Downey, that one. But yeah, it isn't. You can kind of tell, because we can only see everyone watching it can only see Eddie. I'd love to see the journos' faces as well. But you can when Lee Ryder asks the question, you know he's going, I don't like Lee Ryder. I think he's smiling thing about Lee Ryder. And today, in today's one, again, we're only seeing Eddie's reaction. Well, Luke Edwards asked a question, and it was a quick answer he get. And then bang, Dom Skerr was in with his one. And I was like,
he jumped in,
quoting it back to him. And it was like a moment going, like everyone, Dom was well respected, everyone knows it, but it's like in the room with everyone go, who the fuck is that guy? What a powerful question. It was like, yeah.
And rightly so. You should be absolutely asked the tough questions. You should be. And it's important that that's the case. Now, the one thing I'll say in response to that is I don't expect Eddie Howe to come out and say, yeah, Anthony Gordon's head's not right. Head's not right. He's not in it. We're not going to play him because his head's not right and he wants to move away. That would be the worst thing that Eddie Howe could say. Although fans probably want to hear that and probably want clarity on the fact that that's how he's actually thinking. I think we could all read between the lines and know that that's where Anthony Gordon's head's at. You've just talked about it on that video with Keith Downey, that he looked absolutely kind of like checked out and despondent. He looked like he would rather be anywhere else but there at this moment in time. And we all know that's the case. But that would be the worst thing for Eddie Howe to do. Because of that. Thank you, David Telfield. He's just put that on the screen. And it's because of absolutely that, is that Newcastle United are still going to want to bang the drum that Anthony Gordon is a model professional. Anthony Gordon is doing everything right. Anthony Gordon is looking after himself. Anthony Gordon has just come back from an injury because they want to maximize and get the best price possible to show Bayern Munich that he is the absolute perfect player for Bayern Munich. Whereas reality, they know he's not the perfect player for Newcastle United anymore. He is the player that we need to get rid of, but we want to maximize it and get him out the club. And this is it. What's that? Sorry,
That was another thing he emphasised. He said, I wasn't talking about Anthony Gordon. I was talking in general. He's talking in general, but he's referring to Anthony Gordon and everyone.
Remembering that other previous press conference where we talked about players that are committed to the club, and then all of a sudden Anthony Gordon's out the next day. No talk of injury, no talk of anything else, no injuries to report in that whole press conference, and all of a sudden Anthony Gordon's not available. We can all read between the lines. We know the score with regards to certain players. We know for a long time that Anthony Gordon's been checked out, that's been playing for himself, that's been causing a bit of problems between players in the squad for various different reasons. It's the wrong thing. Eddie Howe is a smart guy. He's not going to come out and tell you exactly how it is, nor is he going to tell you that Nick Voltemada is going to go in the summer. He's going to tell you he's got a future at Newcastle United. We see him next season as a player that we're going to use. He's a superbly talented footballer, is what he referred to, or something along those lines before. But he's going to say that because if Bayern Munich do come calling in the summer, they can't have anything in terms of negotiations to kind of pull any cracks apart to go, oh, but you're not playing him. Oh, but this. Oh, but that. They have to play that line. They have to play the party line. It's not good for the journalists. It's not good for the fans because it gives us no clarity anywhere else. But actually, what it does, it holds value and it holds everything together to ensure that when they do move in the summer, there's no gaps that any club in negotiations can exploit to try and bring the price down. I'll be honest with you, lads. I actually think that Eddie Howe doesn't know who's going in the summer other than Anthony Gordon. I think Anthony Gordon's clear, and the fact that they're already talking makes it clear that Bayern Munich and Newcastle will come to some form of agreement for Anthony Gordon pretty quickly after the season's finished. I think you'll hear it quite quickly after the season's finished, before the World Cup, that there's a deal agreed and it'll be signed. However, from my perspective, on top of that, is that I don't think that Tonali's future's set. I don't think Voltemada's future's set. I don't think Wies's future's set. So he can't turn around and say that these players are gone or these players' heads are not in the club, this, that, and the other, because he needs to hold it together. Because for all what could happen is everyone thinks that Voltemada goes, but all of a sudden we get a bid for Wiesa and Wiesa goes instead. And he's then got to work with Voltemada next season because he can't turn around and say his head's not in it, he's not right, we've had a fallout, or the rest of it, when he's got to work with him next season. It's just a smart play as a manager. You've got to play it safe. You have to.
What do you think on that as well, Pete, based on what you've said? Because Daniel Ego makes a really good point there. And he says, Isak opened the door to this stuff, what we're talking about, basically. We'll have to let someone rot at some point to prove a point, or it'll continue. So maybe I get what you mean, Daniel Ego, in terms of letting them rot. I know what you mean. Maybe not that drastic, but in terms of from what I gather you're saying, say Sandro Tonali wants to leave and Newcastle go, okay, well, if we get a bid of X, you can leave. And then if the bid of X doesn't come in, we then go to Sandro and he knocks on the door again. I want to go. Well, no one's meeting the bid, so you're going to have to stay. And I personally do feel like we are going to have to do that for a couple of players. One player you didn't mention just then, Pete, in that list of possibles or people whose future is a bit uncertain, Tino Livramento. He's another one who falls into that category where I think Newcastle would deal, but it's got to be the right price. There's no bargains to be had here. There's no bargains to be had. And players like Tino Livramento, a decision is going to be made, as well as Wiesa, Voltemada, like you mentioned earlier.
I think the thing just to add on to what you said, because I absolutely agree with you, but I actually think that they don't know whether they're even going to get a bid or not for him. Like, as Liam Kennedy's reported since January, that Man City's interest in him was cooled. They're the only club really with any kind of salt that have been putting bids in. There's been tedious links with Arsenal, but nothing
Bayern
really.
Munich.
Bayern Munich today isn't nothing. But again, there's no real concrete interest in him, and there's always been this question on injuries. So they've got to play it safe. They can't talk about him leaving or talk him down or play him down. They know the score. They know he's an injury prone. They know they probably need to cash in with him now because he's probably going to have more injuries next season because he's going to be that type of guy. If he's picking up massive injuries, long-term injuries now, he missed 5.5 months this season. Of this season, if he doesn't play again this season, that accumulates to 5.5 months he's not played of this season for Newcastle United. That is absolutely crazy. For a player of his talent to have that many injuries is not okay. And that would turn any club away. Or certainly a club if comes in and goes, we can't pay 60, 70 million for him. He's been missing for 5.5 months. And to be fair, they're right in that way of thinking. But Newcastle obviously want a certain price for him because they know what he is capable of. But it's an interesting one. I've just got my little boys here, so I've just got to shut up just for a second. Just bear with me.
Yeah, go on, mate.
No,
Daz, what do you reckon on all this?
Well, I'm just going to quote from the Geordie Journals. Jordan Cronin, the quality one today. He says, Isaac walked so Gordon could run. So that was a poignant little quote there from Jordan today. Yeah, look, it's an interesting summer, and we are going to be active both in sales and in purchases, and with something we're not used to as well. It's all been about the purchases and not being able to offload players, but we're going to be trading. But wheeling and dealing this summer, so it's going to be interesting. I think it's Gordon is definitely out, definitely on his way, and there's a few more probably to follow. But that means we'll be in the market for more players and replacements. So all interesting.
Yeah, I think David Tofield's hit the nail on the head because this is how I feel. David Tofield says going forwards will be one sale each summer, a big sale. This one will be different as not tinkering. It's a full rebuild. I agree with you, David, and I think, and we've said it as a channel, as boys, haven't we? I think this summer, I think there's going to be at least 2, if not 3, big sales. And what I mean by big sales is like 40 million plus. I think there will be at least 2 or 3 40 million plus sales. Now, you could argue within that, Anthony Gordon's going to be one of them, we're sure. And it could be a Tino Livramento. It could be Nick Voltemade. It could be someone else. It could be someone else. I don't think anything's off the table. I really don't.
And on top of that, Chris, we're going to be losing players. As in, like Trips is gone. Kraft is going to be gone. Who knows what will happen with Popey as well. Ramsdale is going to go back to Southampton or back. Shari as well. We don't know whether he's going to get a. So it's a complete summer of change. And that's why we need to have all our plans in place now, not just trying to make decisions now. These are our plans. It's now about acting on them and is it Bournemouth or someone that have already made a signing for next season? I think. Yeah, Brentford. One of those B teams.
One of the Bs. They got a centre back from Salzburg.
That's it.
Schuster or something like that. I can't pronounce his name well, but yeah, they've already agreed a deal. And tonight, it's been pretty much the deal done with
João Gomez.
João Gomez. That's the one to Atletico Madrid. That deal was pretty much done. To be fair, they went in with him. They went in for him in January, and I think Wolves were still thinking they could maybe make the great escape, which is why they held on to him. But that seemed to be, he's a top player. He would do really well there. But yeah, that was one ballpark I was hoping we maybe would exploit. But actually, yeah, I think our business will be done.
We were just saying, Pete, when you stepped away, Daz and I agreed with David Tofield here when he said going forward it'll be one sale each summer, so like a big player going each other, but this summer it'll be different as we're not tinkering. It's a full rebuild, and we were saying that arguably, well, I said arguably I could see at least 2 if not 3 big players going, i.e. 40 million plus leaving the building. Anthony Gordon definitely being one of them, and then you could argue possibly Tino, possibly Tonali, possibly Voltemade, possibly somebody else. Like, you know, we left that open as a bit cryptic because who knows? Who really knows what's going on? But I think there will be a number of players. Then Daz mentioned Ramsdale will probably go. Will Pope stay? Kraft's going. Trippier's going. Could Shah go? Is Willock going to go? There's a number of players, isn't there? There's a number of players. Yeah.
Even though Eddie Howe is saying that he's going to stay, who knows as well if the bid comes in from.
But this is it, boys. For me, I don't think any more than 2 big players leave Newcastle United this summer. I mean, like high-profile players. But I think if we can get 70, 75 million for Gordon, that's a big transfer that will inevitably kind of fund our summer spending. So I don't think we'll pay the type of money that we paid for players like we did last summer, but I think we'll get the players in that we need. And I think that one big signing or one big sell will allow us to kind of spend. I think the likes of Willock will go and I think he'll reach 20 million, maybe a little bit more in that deal. So that's another kind of 20 million on top of whatever we get for Gordon. And then what I think that means, it doesn't mean that another player doesn't go, but I think at that point we can be hard sellers at that point because we're getting the other players out the door. Trippier's 120, 130 grand a week is going to be back into the coffers. You're going to have Kraft's 60, however much grand a week back into the coffers because he's gone. Fabian Schär's 80 something grand a week back into the coffers because I think it was touched on by Eddie Howe that his future is up in the air, and I've got a feeling he's not going to sign a new deal. I think they're going to let him go. I think they're going to go for a youthful centre back coming in. So you've got massive amounts of wages that are going to go back into the coffers. 120 grand a week, David Telfield. You're absolutely right. Back into the coffers that we've been paying the full wage for all season for a second choice goalkeeper. We've got loads of money back into the coffers, but what it means then is that we've got a little bit to play with in terms of wages, but also that transfer fee that we get for Gordon and maybe a Willock. And what that means is the Sandro Tonali fee is what we want for him, not what we're willing to agree in the end. Yeah. What it means is if you want a Sula, as it's been talked about, Craig Hope did the piece yesterday, and he was like, Newcastle want around the £40 million mark, or upwards of 40 million, I think was the word that he used for Willa Sula. So if you want him, that's fine, but you're gonna have to pay that big fee to get him out. And if someone comes with 40 million for Willa Sula, I'm sorry, at 23 years old, as well as he's done at the end of the season, you take that money. You just
buy another project player then in that space.
And do you know what? Do you know what, Pete? You've just made a really good point. You know when the Alexander Isak saga. You know, the fact that we sold him in the very last day and all things like that. If we then sell an Anthony Gordon, if then we sell it, this window is going to be so different for us because previously people say, oh, you want to bring your players in before you sell your big players. It's actually probably the opposite for us this time because we're almost saying, yeah, we've got money. Yeah, you know, these are the players we're going for, but they're not going to be those high profile players where people go, oh, it's Newcastle. Let's stick an extra 20 million on because those days are gone. So the fact that we bring the money in now will work to our advantage because then when players or vultures are coming to get our players, we go, we've just sold Anthony Gordon for 70 million. We've just sold, arguably, Tino Livramento for 50 million. The price is this for Tonali, or the price is this for the Sule, or the price is this for, God forbid, you know, Bruno or whatever. Do you know what I mean? We then have the advantage because, no, I know, but we have the advantage in terms of we can say, we're fine for money. We've got the money. The money's come in. You know, we've sold Anthony Gordon. You know, we've sold this player. We've got the money in. And the players that we go to get from these, clubs who maybe aren't as attractive or not everybody's after the players, we're then going to them and going, right, we'll pay 25 million for him. And to the club receiving that money, they're going to go, fucking hell, this is great. Oh, it'll allow us to do this because we haven't got 5-10 other clubs all competing for the same player. And they go, oh, yeah, we want 40 million. And then we go, nah, you're all right. No, don't want that. Move on.
Absolutely. And like what that also, I actually think not all of the deals, I think you're right. I think we will cash in and sort of like sell our players. like quite early on. But I think there'll be some deals that will be simultaneous, like that we'll have one out, but one also coming in at the same time, and it'll be in that kind of motion. Not every deal, but I think there'll be some. I think me and Daz talked about it. I think when you weren't well at the back end of one of the shows, I think it was at the weekend, and we were saying like there's a potential of maybe 2 players coming in and maybe 2 players going out even before the World Cup started. Is that could be there could be that quick turnaround. And we've still got money to play with. So if there's a deal that's ready to be done and a team in Europe needs to put that money on the kind of the finances before July comes about, we can take advantage of that from a European team. And you only have to, we've got over 500 people watching right now. You only have to go back and look at our fully loaded transfer shows, the defender show in particular, and the midfield show in particular, and look at the players that we've either suggested that Newcastle maybe should look at, or who we should look at, and look at the players that we have been linked with in the last 3 or 4 months. And it tells you that we're in a different ballpark, and there's a lot of those players that have massive potential, but a lot of those players that Chelsea probably won't look at, Man United probably won't look at, Liverpool definitely won't look at, Arsenal and Man City won't look at, because they're all risk players. They're all players with potential, but have that risk factor that we're willing to take that risk on this summer. Ross Wilson will take the risk on. Eddie Howe will take the risk on. And, it might take them a little bit of time to bed in, but these guys, these 2 are willing to take those risks on those players with that big cash money of the sales and be able to reinvest. And I think that's where we're going to be fighting this summer. And we're going to be in a different market, which I fully believe, whether it's Eddie Howe in charge in a year's time or not, that we may look back at this summer that we have and we look at it and go, wow, like, we did some really good business this summer. And I think there'll be a lot of opposition teams that'll go, where did that player come from? They've done it again. They've done another Bruno, or they've done another Botman, or they've done another Isak, or they've done another Tonali, like in terms of unearthing that player, and they hit the ground running for the Premier League. I've got really strong feelings about Ross Wilson securing these deals in the summer. I've got really, really positive feeling about it. And I'm really looking forward to it. I just want these 3 games gone, hopefully with 3 wins, and then I just want to look forward to summer, because I've got a feeling, boys, we're going to be really happy with our summer business. I just have a feeling. And
do you know what, Pete? Oh, sorry, Daz. I was just going to say, do you know what? I was doing a little mini calculation in my head then. The great thing is about going for these players who aren't being courted by your Chelsea, Man United, Arsenal, Man City, Liverpool, etc. When Newcastle come calling, they're going to be playing, mid-table team in La Liga, mid-table team in the Belgium League, etc., etc. And when Newcastle come calling, they'll be like, this is my big move. This is my big move. I want to go there. I want to impress. This is my chance to shine, etc., etc. You're not going to be signing prima donnas. And also, looking at the players leaving, it's recycling and getting that wage bill down so much. Like you mentioned there, Adam Ramsdale, 120 grand a week. Kraft, who must be on at least 60 grand a week. If Shah goes, that's another 80 grand a week. And these players who believe Anthony Gordon must be on at least 140. Now, when you approach these players who aren't, in that top bracket, maybe, the next one up or whatever, when they're playing for these clubs and they're on, and you hear the reports, don't you? Or they're on 16 grand a week, or they're on 20 grand a week, and Newcastle come in and go, we'll give you 40, we'll give you 50, we'll give you, but they're not silly wages. And then when they've proved themselves, then when they've started to do the business on the pitch and you go, right, new 5-year deal for you next year. Yeah, we'll put you on 80 grand a week, or we'll put you on 100 grand a week. And then you're buying the player in. And by that point, you've then got such an asset that if a club were to come in, or if a club are going to try and court them, you go, yeah, they're worth 80 million now. So yeah, if you want to buy them, by all means, go ahead, be our guest. And that is what excites me going forward.
Sayed Al-Mala, who Daz has talked about, if he gets offered 80 grand a week, he's going, thank you very much. I'll take that all day long. He's probably on.
Give something to his brother.
Yeah, that's probably enough for him and his brother to secure a contract. And if it's an Antonio Nusa or someone like that that's also been linked in the last couple of days, they'll be laughing at an 80 85 grand, 90 grand a week, because that's a huge increase on their wage. And you know what, Chris, just to add to what you've just said, because everything you said is correct. They actually want to play for the club. They're committed. They're in. They're all in into Newcastle United. Play for the badge, play for the club. They are there on that level, ready to go. Robin Reeser, like 100%. You look at the reports, 100%. Coming out. There's reports coming out that we could sign Reeser for as little as 20 million. That's coming from some French reports that are coming out. 20 million. Look, either Robin Reeser or James Trafford will be great signings. James Trafford is going to be significantly more expensive than that, probably about £35 million mark. But if you can get Robin Reeser, who for me is equally as good as James Trafford, for 20 million, for me it's a no-brainer. And I'm not sure. I think James Trafford would love to come to Newcastle United, but I'm not sure that's a done deal, because there's still rumours of Aston Villa lurking, and they're going to get Champions League football, and they will have a lot. They genuinely pay their players bigger wages. They just do. And I'm not sure that's a done deal. I would love James Trafford in Newcastle. But if you can't get James Trafford, you go and get Robin Reeser at a significantly lower fee, a goalkeeper that's equal to his ability, and you're still getting him for 10 years like you get Trafford for 10 years. But it just makes sense. And he's on pittance in comparison. So you probably give him 70 grand a week, and he's snapping your hand off and getting on the next flight over to Newcastle.
You know what else is a no-brainer, right? And if you are in the market, you should be in the market for a loaded membership. And the reason being, because of our excellent sponsor in okjerseys.com. If you are a loaded member, you'll have seen already, we've given away 2 or 3 jerseys already. And we put the question to our loaded ultras in the chat. You'll automatically become a loaded ultra if you're a member. And we if you're watching the show, then that we asked the question in, you will get a jersey of your choice, and we'll organize that for you. But if you also go check out okjersey.com and use the code LOADED, and you'll get 8% off any and all the items on the site. And there's millions of options. It'll take you hours to look at.
You segued that absolutely perfectly, Daz. Obviously into the discussion on OK Jersey. But interestingly, this evening, just whilst we were on, I got given a package, and it's my OK jerseys. I'll put the post up there, OK jerseys, and I'm not even had a chance to put it on. But yeah, you got the same. But I've got
I haven't got my package yet.
Right, Daz,
mine hasn't come yet either, Chris.
But,
Pete, what shirts did you get?
No. Not those. They've not arrived yet. This is one that I'd ordered. This is one that I'd ordered separately. So I got the trading top. I absolutely love it. I tell you what, Daz is absolutely right, because Daz, you got the Brazil.
Tracksuit.
The quality is unbelievable. Honestly, so good. I can't wait to put it on. I'll probably wear it the next show.
Yeah.
But it's literally just been handed to me in the last sort of 30 minutes that it had arrived. I hadn't even realised to be in such a rush. But OK jerseys, Edward and the team, absolute legends. And we'll be showing more. We'll be showing more as they come in. But get your kits for the World Cup. Whoever you supported, get the kits in now so they arrive in time for the World Cup, and they will. Plenty of time ahead.
So some surprise kits coming for us to wear as well. So that'll be interesting. We'll all have to come on with a shirt.
Are we wearing them all? Are we wearing them all?
We should.
Are we wearing them all?
Oh no, not all of them. Not all of them. Two of them I wear, not the third one. Not the third one.
Oh right, I know why.
I was like, yeah. And then I was like, no, not all of them. Not all of them.
No, you'll have to now. The chatters, give the chatters what they want.
Oh God, I'll never live that down if I wear that. Jesus. No.
No, maybe we can guess what that is.
Other clubs available in the store. Yeah.
It's not a Sunderland shirt.
No, it's not. It's not. No.
I think that's it, boys, for us for tonight. I hope everyone enjoyed the show, and thanks again to Wolfie for coming on. Obviously, he's not in the best of form after last night's events, but vamos Mexico! My little boy wanted to get a Mexico kid actually for the World Cup. Boy, he's a fascination with Mexico at the moment. But
yeah, that's a lovely kid.
Boys, before we go, one very quick last thing. We've got to give our predictions.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go positive, boys. I'm sorry. I'm going to go positive. I think we win. I think we win on Sunday. And I'm going to go, I think we win 3-1. I'm going to go positive. Positive Pete's back. How long for? Who knows? But I'm going to go 3-1.
Just this week.
In on Sunday night. And then you'll see. Yeah.
I'm also going to go positive, and I'm going to go 2-0. I think Forest will be just hungover from disappointment, and no Morgan Gibbs White, hopefully for us. So yeah, I'll go 2-0. Or 0-2.
Yeah.
Progress.
I'm gonna go. Fabian Schär. Full house. I'm gonna say Newcastle win 2-1.
Okay.
I thought you were Fabian Schär to score.
No, I don't want it.
That would be surprised.
New contract.
All 3 wins.
And a 2-1. Yeah.
All 3 wins. I love it.
Wow.
Tune
into the disappointment on Sunday night.
Yeah. We'll see
We're all back on the positivity train.
This is like Crystal Palace all over again.
Please
put your house on Palace. On the Palace result there.
Oh my god.
Oh god. Right, that's it. But no, we have positive because Bruno's back, boys. It was turning quiet.
It's Tinkle.
Oh, is that not Tinkle? What are you on about?
I think he means twinkle, but
yeah, I'm gonna say
it's come out tinkle. Yeah, twinkle.
My tinkle's fully intact, Mr. Linkfield. I have you know.
Oh, he said it.
Fully functioning, fully intact. Left of that.
Tinkle.
No answer for that. Let's leave it at that then. Good night, everyone. See you next one.
Cause sooner or later in life, the things you love, you lose. But you've got the love I need to see me through. You got the love. 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 Sometimes I feel like throw my hands up in the air.